And we're back on this Sunday morning. Steve Kashul, Dr. Brian Cole. It is Sports Medicine Weekly. And don't forget our website is sportsmedicineweekly.com. And that's where we direct you as we get ready for our Ask the Doctor segment. It gives our listeners the opportunity to have Dr. Cole address your specific sports injury issues. Easy to submit a question. Go to that website, sportsmedicineweekly.com. On the home page, you're going to find a link underneath the photo of Dr. Cole and yours truly on the right side of that home page. Click on that link and you can submit your question. Got a real good one here, Dr. Cole, from one of our listeners. And this listener says, Dr. Cole, in your experience, what athlete suffers the most from a torn ACL and is challenged the most in their return? Is it a basketball player, a football player, soccer player, baseball player, hockey player, or other?
That's a interesting question, Steve. I guess it in part depends upon what the word challenge means in terms of getting back. And forget about re-injury rates and just talk about, what it takes to get back as an athlete. And having managed all of these different types of athletes, I would say that, agility sports, so if you're an inner lineman, I'm not saying they're not agile or it doesn't require athleticism, but an inner lineman or different positions in basketball, a non-guard position, we'll say, would be probably a bit easier than those who have, high level of agility and timing requirements. The one thing that people don't talk about a lot with ACL tears is this concept of what we call proprioception. And Steve, proprioception is our brain's connection to the joint. And when there's a ligament tear or an injury, that connection's disrupted, and it has to sort of reorganize and reform over time. So part of the rehab for any injury is getting your strength back, your motion back, getting rid of the pain, and so forth, and providing stability. But there's another part of it that often gets lost, and that's that concept of proprioception. So proprioception is like where our joints are in space and time. And if that's off, not only do we not perform well as an athlete, but there's also a risk of re-injury. So I would argue if I had to pick a sport that has the largest number of sort of athletes that require, sort of intense, consistent agility, I would tell you that it's going to be soccer. Because I just, dealing with soccer, when you look at the nature of the sport and you compare that to athletes who are, sort of like the tough physical contact athletes, whole different ball game in terms of what they need to do. And I would say timing and acceleration, deceleration, coordination, probably hardest in soccer. But you could take a quarterback, and that might be as hard or harder than soccer. So think about the position at hand, whether it's agility and other, and that's really what you're talking about.
Okay. Great stuff, Dr. Cole. Appreciate it. Great show. And be safe. We'll talk with you again next Sunday for a new edition.
You got it, Steve. Have a great week and be safe.
Appreciate it. A reminder, everyone, net proceeds from our show, Sports Medicine Weekly, go to support orthopedic research at Rush through the liveactivenow.org fund. Reminder, podcast segments always available to hear on the Sports Medicine Weekly blog, also through Apple, Google, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcast audio. Many thanks to our producer, Shane Reardon. Also want to thank David Cole. He manages our website and our business operations, as well as Samantha Smith from Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. For Dr. Brian Cole, I'm Steve Kashul. We say so long for now. We thank you for listening to Sports Medicine Weekly. We'll be back again next Sunday, 7 a.m. Central, with a brand new edition of Sports Medicine Weekly, only on
670 The Score.